Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of our podcast. This is Kevin Hu from Shanghai. In this lesson, we're going to build a gateway service with BOR. It is an advanced session compared with our previous sessions. So let's begin. Let's see, we open up the gateway sandboxes. It is, let's see, in SEAD we have gateway data model we need to define here. So let's name it sample user BOR Kevin. Let's create this data model. Let's say it is a PS data model, and let's generate from data source object or data not a no data channel object. And for the user, let's say it's some descriptions here. We have the user maintenance BOR sample BOR. It's a local object. So here we have opened the screen to create the data models, and we have the data source listed in the left hand side. So what we're gonna choose is user. We have several PAPI calls here. We have let's say we have the get list. We'll get a list of the values, the users that we want. So here we can do some mappings of between the backend system attributes to the gateway OData payload. So here let's say we can set up an constant value to the max rows returned. This is 20, and say also we have a constant value of x set to with username. And let's uncheck the other attributes that we don't want. Uncheck the return, and we will retain the username, first name, last name, and full name. Let's change the mapping. The username change to, let's say, username. Okay. So here we have to define a key. So for the score ID, we map it to the username, so it works as a primary key of our service. Again, we're going to create a property, the new property called user ID. It is a string type. Let's get it and label user ID for selection, and sure, let's create another property called is locked. It is a string locked user selection. Let's change the mapping here. Here we can select the range table, which works as an additional parameters of the method. Let's add some values. For the user ID, let's map it to the, let's say I need to consult the documentations. Yes, for the semantic, for the constant value, it is the username. Let's set it as username, and let's see. Let's click add. Okay. Let's map the is locked parameter. Let's set it to say, let's see, logon data. For the field, let's set it to U flag. Let's add the last name. The constant value is address. Field is name. Okay, sure, we have set up the range table, and we probably go to click the OK button. So we finished the definition of the query operation. So in SE 7037, let's say function builder is see the documentations that we have already used. Here we can see the documentations here, how to set up the range table. We have fully documented with the BAPI documentation. Let's go back to the service builder. And let's do another mapping of the get detail. Let's map it to a read operation. Here we can expand all the attributes by clicking this button. So let's choose the attributes that we want. We have several attributes here. Map it. The username has already mapped it to the score ID. And also in the address we have the attribute title. Let's name it the title. Let's flatten the hierarchy. Sure, we have some other attributes to define. Let's see. So you can see from this BAPI methods, there's hundreds of parameters. So we can only use several and forget all about the other attributes that we don't want, and save our works for the front-end developers, as the front-end developers or devices, they can consume the gateway much more easy. It is hard to believe that front-end developers need to confront hundreds of parameters for a single method. So this is what gateway is doing. So here we have several attributes already defined: department, language, communication types, name. So be some redundant work here, but you have to do it. There's no way to skip or do it in a bundle. Maybe in the next version of gateway we can release from those silly works. Okay, let's say this is the attribute that we choose. Country, for the email, okay, let's I think that's enough. Activity groups, let's choose it. There's some row, which you can see the row. You can get the returned rows of the user. To date. So let's see what else we need. And we have the puppy profile. Let's rename it profile, and puppy p text. Name it to text. Okay, puppy type. So you need to rename those mapped values to something that is easy to understand, other than the so-called technical names. So let's click OK. Let's finish it, and so we got to see the change mapping. Sorry, it's a mistake that I did not flatten the attributes. So what you're gonna see is that I have the telephone attribute has been under the address. This is not what we want. So let's put it in the upper class. For the upper level, so for the address, sorry, there's something that had not been refreshed. You need to find somewhere to refresh it. Let's see, for the activity groups, set it as a key. For the role and profile, set the profile as the key. So you need to set a key, at least a key for the complex types that is included in data model. So let's generate it. go back to the navigator. So I think we have been generated the gateway service here. What we're gonna do is I think create a consumption model. Let's name it sample user SBC Kevin Hu. Click yes. Test service. Local object. So we're gonna include the gateway model into the consumption model. This is what we're gonna do. So double click, add gateway model. Let's choose the gateway model that we just built. We have let's say we have this one, yeah, the user BOR. Double click and let's see what's in the XML service document. Yes, here we have several collections. Also, let's see the metadata file. For this collection, let's put it into the URL to a test. Yes, we can see from this. Let's count the entry numbers, as we have set up a max row in gateway service. And yes, this 20. This is max row returned. And what we're gonna do is let's test it in WFetch tool. See if let's do a get. This will return all the values of the collection. It's similar to this call in the browser. So next thing we're gonna do is let's try some other operations here. Let's say we can append some parameters here, such as the top 5. So we can return the top 5 entries. So very easy to do some pagings using some keyword filters. Also, we can filter the user ID, which we defined in the data model. Say user ID equals to this user. Sure, we have returned this entry only. So let's do another filter called say is locked. These are the two parameters that we defined so that you can use the filters here in your URL very quickly. In order to use the filter, you have to define it in a data model. You can also use some simple method like substring of. You can do an advanced search. As you can see, we have returned 2, otherwise 3 attributes here that contains a substring. And we can also check. Here we have the collections. Here it's a simple entry, so we can use this format to get it. Sorry, maybe I used the wrong URL here. I'm not sure. I have to set up it. So I choose the wrong URL. As you can see. Okay, let's make it happen again. Let's check. So basically it is a link that has already been done automatically, because the activity groups has been under the structure of the data, the user model. So the links has been done automatically. You do not need to build the link yourself. So here in the metadata, the service document, let's say what we're gonna see is let's go back and check the data model. And say let's find the user, and we're gonna do a mapping of the create operation. So let me find the user. So this can be some a tough task to search in a long list. User, say create a mapping. Let's create a mapping here. So the quickest way is to uncheck in the highest level of the structure, and then check the attribute that you want. So here we have C. Change the mapping route. Say let's create a user. We need to specify the username and the password, etc. So also you need to define some other attributes, input some other informations for this user, say some useful informations like the title. I just skip a little because the things we do is pretty much similar with the things that we have done before with mapping the read operation. So here we gonna create a mapping with the update operations. It's also the same things that we want to do. We need to map several attributes like the names and the languages here. Okay, sure, we have built the update operation. So here we're gonna generate data model again. It may take some time. And in the end, we will map the last operation. The delete operations is much simple. Oh, okay, let's go back to the WFetch tool. let's do a quick test of the things that we have done. Let's name it, let's do a post. It will create a user, and with these attributes, this user is called Kevin222, and the other attributes is some fake data. So the response is okay. Let me see. Yes, created. The user has been created, and so let's say let's do some update. Say I'm going to update an attribute. I need to update the attribute, and for the user, I'm going to say I want to update the user called Kevin222. Okay, let's change the first name and last name to Kevin. Who? Let's go. Okay, the response is sorry, bad. Something bad. I'm afraid I've copied some bad characters here. Maybe let's check the URL is okay. Okay. It says no contents. It has been finished updating. So what we're going to do is say I'm going to, yes, it says the update is completed. Let's do a check in this browser. Copy and paste the URL. It is the quickest way to get the entries that we have been updated. I'm not sure. Let's see. The update. Let's choose the delete operation. Okay, it seems that the entry has been deleted. So let's see, let's try another delete operation. We get this error code that the user does not exist. This means that the entry has been deleted. So okay, that concludes this session. Thanks for watching. Bye.